everybody. This is episode 42. I can't believe it. 42
Wow.
of
Yeah.
Eat, Drink, Write, and Urban Fantasy Whiteboard. We're going to talk about growing your platform as an author. That's something that we hear about when Taylor and I go to conferences. That's always something that's on the list of topics to talk about, and we still don't get it. So we decided we would do our own episode and try to help you all out and help ourselves out in the process.
Yeah.
But first, how was your week?
Well, we dished a little bit about it before
Yeah.
starting recording,
You
but my
should have
weekend,
had it recorded because it was a good one.
it was. It's been super stressful. Work has been really stressful, and not for like the normal reasons. It's mostly school, I guess, is stressful. I have been asked to I've been asked to make a protocol, I guess, within a week on something that I have no knowledge about. So that's a little stressful. What else?
Hey, you're a grad student. You're supposed to know that stuff.
No. I know nothing. I'm a grad student. I know nothing. But there is something good that has come out of all this stress, and that is that I'm a really great stress writer. Not in terms of content necessarily, but I have written 20,000 words in the last week.
My God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Put that into perspective, that's like I also did 27,000 words in the past week and a half. So
God.
yeah, and
That's amazing.
that's on my rewrite. So I think last week I said I was at 37,000 words on my rewrite. I'm now at 57,000.
That is awesome. I am proud.
So it's the best stress reliever. So is
really? Because
Yeah.
to me, writing is another one of my jobs, so it adds to my stress. Well, the fact that I don't have time to write is what's adding to my stress.
Right. Yeah. No, it's what I do like before I go to bed. It's what I do. I work on it at work when I need a break at work. I work on it during the weekend. I was really upset this past weekend because of an experiment that went wrong. And so I got home and I immediately sat down and started typing, and I typed like 4,000 words that day. So
Wow. I sit down and start drinking. We're totally different here. That's
right. But hopefully that means I'll finish this book soon because it's at 50.
I think you will.
I'm going to work on it a little bit more tonight after this, and then hopefully get to 60,000. And then
Have you submitted this one ever before? Never before?
no, I haven't.
Okay. The only one you've submitted so far is the MacBook, right?
Yeah.
All right. All right. This is going to be book number 2. Awesome.
Yes. So I'm excited about it. How about you? How's your week?
It's been shitty.
Yeah.
I actually had to look up whether it was a full moon today or not, because
Right.
I was like, this week has sucked.
And it
it's
seems like it has been for everybody. Like everybody that I've been talking to they're all stressed. Everybody's had a bad week.
yeah, my employees are having a hard time. I'm having a hard time. My children are having a hard time. Number 3 has had a really hard, she fell down the stairs today, but she's okay.
He is okay.
But she landed such that when she scraped her hand and she scraped off her baby toenail.
Oh, I hate it.
I know. And she said she just sat there for a minute. She's like, yep, this is 2020. This is how my week has been going.
Yep.
So yeah, she's having a hard time. Everybody I know is having a hard time.
Yeah.
But what I did discover is that it's a new moon. It's a super new moon on Friday, and today is Wednesday while we're recording this. So maybe that has something to do with it. When I worked in the say that again?
We're just like the anti-werewolves.
Yeah. When I worked in the DA's office, I swear the week of the full moon, we got the crazies, because each one of us had we're assigned a duty DA. We were duty DAs.
Mm-hmm.
And so the duty DA of the day had to deal with all the incoming walk-ins.
Yeah.
And phone calls. Don't forget the phone calls. That was fun too.
Right.
And it was always worse. We all fought over who had to do it on the full moon.
Mm-hmm.
There really is something to it. But anyway, this week has been crazy. I was trying to work on my craft job. I've got a booth at the Mall of Georgia at the Painted Tree. I've got a booth up in Helen. which is a resort, not a resort, definitely not a resort. It's a tourist town
Yeah, yeah.
that's like Germany type theme.
Right,
And it's Oktoberfest and all that right now. So I needed to go up there. I haven't been up there since COVID because I've been afraid.
right.
And so I had to go up there. My booth was a mess. I had a lot of stuff stolen, which is unfortunate. I do men rings, and they're my most expensive item because the setting for the men rings by itself is expensive before I even do my painting on it. And
Mhm.
3 out of 4 were stolen.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's rough.
So it sucks. And then I had to go and deal with the Mall of Georgia, which I love the Mall of Georgia. It's right down the road. It's right there. It's a huge, wide open space. My booth is very airy. My masks are selling like hotcakes. All of my Georgia masks are sold out, so I've got to make more of those. So that was fun, but it took time that I don't have. I've got Chaos Court coming up next week. That's
Right.
5 days of court back to back, and I'm the host of the Zoom, so there's a lot of administrative crap. You know, it was nice back in the day when all I had to worry about was the law stuff.
Yeah.
And then I've got a defendant who's in jail, and so I've got to deal with him and trying to set up a hearing with him. I'm so I know that's boring, so I won't get into it. Oh yeah, and then taxes were due.
Ah, yes.
So an
Wonderful.
entire day was spent getting tax stuff together for our accountant, who probably wants to shoot me because tomorrow is tax day and I got it to her on Friday.
Yeah, and that's plenty of time. That's fine.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So she, I'm sure, is like wanting to shoot me through the computer.
Yeah.
So, and I've had these horrible headaches, which I think they're stress headaches. I get
Oh,
them
yeah.
here in the back of my neck. And your dad, he'll come behind my chair because we work across from each other at the big desk down there. And I'll complain about my neck, and he can tell I've got a headache, and he'll come rub on it. And he's like, you've got a knot about the size of a quarter in
Yeah.
the back of your neck. That's just stress.
Yeah.
So I'm drinking today.
Wonderful. What are you?
So what am I drinking? Do I go
Yeah.
first?
Yeah.
So my husband wanted me to use this adorable little shot glass, which if you're not watching, it's brown. It kind of has earthen tones. It's clay. I'll take a picture of it so y'all can see it. But he wanted me to use it, and I'm like, okay, this is not going to hold enough for me to drink through this podcast. So what can I have? And he is a big moonshine fan.
Yeah.
He actually watches The Moonshiners, which is a show on A&E, I think.
Oh, wow.
I know,
Yeah.
weird. I can't understand them when they talk, so I don't even watch it. But he loves it, and so he has some cinnamon moonshine, and I'm like, okay, I'll do a shot. Taylor will love me. She'll be doing this whole podcast because I'm going to do a shot of cinnamon moonshine.
Listen, this week that sounds great. So,
And I do love cinnamon.
Yeah.
I do love it. So I'll take a picture of the bottle, and I got a picture of my shot before I took it. Now I'm drinking my usual kamikaze in the glass that you gave me for my birthday.
Wonderful.
So, and then I ate dinner right before because we're late tonight. Although it's still light outside. And I'm out on the deck for those listening. But we ate dinner, so I ate a dessert as my podcast food, and I made these keto pumpkin muffins.
Oh, yeah.
With keto mousse on top.
Wonderful.
Fabulous. And to appease daughter number 4, I took the picture on her plate that she gave me, the Halloween gnome plate. So I'll post that picture as well. It was fabulous. I'm telling y'all. She ate one, and I think she said it was good, but number 1, she's not a huge pumpkin fan.
Yeah.
And number 2, being on keto, my taste buds have changed, so things are really, really sweet to me that aren't really, really sweet to a normal person. So I don't think it was sweet enough for her.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But I loved it. So what are you eating and drinking?
So I'm not eating anything, and there's a reason for it. So I was having a bad day today, and my girlfriend was like, "Well, I can bring you caffeine whenever I come in," and I said that would be wonderful. So she got me Dunkin' Donuts, and she got me. Yeah, she's sweet. And she got me a tea latte and added a shot of espresso.
Oh, wow, you're going to be up all night long.
Oh, I know. Yes. So I drank it, and So the reason I drink tea on this podcast, like tea is my caffeine drink. Like tea has enough caffeine to get me going, and I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't drink coffee because I react so strongly to it. Like I get so jittery. And so I don't usually do the coffee thing, but she gave me espresso. I needed the caffeine. So I had that today. And then I didn't get hungry until 3:00. So I ate lunch at 3:30 and now, so I'm not hungry. But I am going to have Jordan, sister number 3, she got me a Halloween cereal from Target.
Oh, so, is it Boo Berry, Count Chocula, or Frankenberry?
I made her get me all 3.
Ah, love it.
So
can't eat those anymore.
I know. So I got those, and I'm going to eat some for dessert tonight because that's who I am as a human being. And
I love it.
So I will do that.
I think Boo Berry's my favorite.
Boo Berry's pretty good.
I like all of them.
I do too.
They are all good.
She asked me, she was like, well, what flavor do you want? And I said, all of them, obviously. So,
obviously.
So she got me all of them, and I am thrilled. My favorite, I think, is Count Chocula, though. I like the chocolate one.
I do like chocolate. Yeah, she's called me about 10 times today because she's having a shitty day, too.
Yeah.
She fell down the stairs, as we said. But every time I see her, because she FaceTimes me.
Yeah.
And I'm usually working, so I prop her up on my computer on my phone while I'm working on the computer, and she's eating either, I think, the Boo Berry or the Count Chocula or something. Every time she called me today, I'm like, yeah, she's stress eating. Bless her little heart. Yeah.
Yeah. So in honor of my stress, I'm drinking honey lavender stress relief tea.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, because I didn't want tea with caffeine in it because I've had enough today. And then I wasn't ready for alcohol because I think that'll put me to sleep, and I'm not ready for that yet. So
yeah,
here we go. Stress
okay. All right, guys. So, I have jokes.
Oh, of course you do. Hit me.
Which this was an easy week because, and they're kind of jokes. They're more, well, anyway, I'll read them. But social media, we're talking about our platform.
Yeah.
And a lot of an author's platform is on social media. So I looked up social media jokes, and there were some funny ones, especially because each different social media has a different connotation with it. So Facebook, essential oils. Snapchat, I'm a bunny. Instagram, I ate a hamburger. Twitter, this country is burning to the ground. I mean, and that is so accurate for each one of those things. That is so accurate. Snapchat, I'm a bunny or a cat or, whatever it is with the ears. Right. And Instagram is all about the food pictures. And yep. Twitter is all about we're doomed, we're all dying. It's the catastrophe.
Absolutely.
Same line along of that. Instagram, my life is a party. Snapchat, my life is a quirky TV show. Facebook, my life turned out great. Twitter, we're all gonna die.
Wow. I mean, fair, I guess, but wow.
And then the last one, me. I should do a 3-day social media detox. Also me. I should ask Twitter what they think of the idea.
Accurate. That's accurate.
So true. So growing your platform as an author, what is this?
Yeah, so platform to me is like super daunting. It always has been. I'm not a big social media person myself. Mm-hmm. It can be super useful for networking and sharing news and information and all that. But I'm actually super glad we're doing this topic because, I'm personally terrible with platform in general. Also, apparently my word today is super. So
okay. Usually my word. Wow. I am on my 3rd drink plus the shot. So this is going to be an interesting episode. I have trouble with this as well, but I have a reason. I mean, I'm an old person. So, your age level is supposed to be all about the social media, but, because you grew up with it mostly. I mean, you're a little bit, I don't think it was really out there when you were like 8 or anything like that. Like Riley is truly grown up with it.
Right. Well, I mean, I still had a flip phone in high school. So like if you think about it in terms of that, I'm also somewhat old in terms of social media. Facebook became big when I was in 10th grade, but it was still on the computer. So like I didn't have a smartphone, which is what a lot of people use for social media these days.
Yeah.
And all that
Yeah,
kind of
and
stuff.
you all usually had the cutting edge too. Daddy and I kept you all up to date
Yeah.
on all
Yeah.
your stuff. But I did just discover, well, not just, but about a year ago, I discovered TikTok.
Listen, there's a book talk. I'm on book talk now. I
What's
now
book
get
talk? I don't know book talk.
just TikToks that are about books. So, and I've managed to get my way into that algorithm where it shows me like different books and stuff. Yeah.
Oh
So,
my God. I don't know, but I have to check it out.
yep.
But
And also writers talk, but I'm not on that one as much. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had no idea. Okay, so I'm still old. I still don't know all these things. But I do spend a lot of time. I try not to go on TikTok nowadays because it sucks your time. You'll
Yeah.
like when I wake up, I like to chill for a minute and I'll go onto Twitter and see what the news is, see what has happened that is ridiculous today. That kind of thing. I do check my little games that I play.
Right. Right.
But if I go on TikTok, I'm there till noon.
Yeah.
And I work from home. So there's nothing that makes me get up until your dad comes in is like, I came in to make sure you didn't die or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, TikTok. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So, what is platform? An author platform refers to the writer's ability to market their work using their overall visibility to reach a target audience of potential readers.
Yeah. An ability to sell books because of who you are and who you can reach is basically what a platform is. Did you know that the platform actually started off as a nonfiction thing?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Sometime in the 1990s, agents and publishers began rejecting nonfiction book proposals because the author lacked a platform.
Wow.
They wanted their authors to already be known, which makes sense, I suppose, for nonfiction. If you're an expert in the field of X that you're writing the book on, they
Right.
want you to be known as an expert because then you're an instant sale.
Right. Right. I guess that makes sense.
I mean, yeah, it kind of took half the battle away of marketing the book.
Yeah.
So, interesting little fact there. I'm sorry I interrupted.
No, that's great. I didn't know that at all, but like you said, it does make sense. So interesting. A lot of the time, platform means social media. When people think of platform, they're like, oh, obviously it means social media. So things like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, that kind of thing.
TikTok.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Snapchat. Actually, I don't use Snapchat a lot, which Jordan uses it all the time.
Yeah, I use it every now and I Snapchat my girlfriend and that's it.
Okay. And then Pinterest.
Yeah. Oh, Pinterest is great.
Yeah.
That's a good one. But also it includes things like websites and blogs, newsletters and mailing lists.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear more about what you've got on mailing lists because I have toyed with the idea. I've got two businesses. Well, I've got three, but the law one doesn't need that. But my craft one and our podcast, how do you, I'm very curious to know how this email list thing works. And I think you talk about it later.
I found I do a little bit. And I think it's super interesting because I feel weird being like, oh, please, can I have your email? Like, I feel weird gathering emails when I don't even have a book out yet kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I talk about it a little bit later.
Okay.
Another thing is having connections within the industry.
Is that, you mean like when we go to Dragon Con and we meet the authors and all of that and the seminars and stuff? That's what you're talking about?
Exactly. Or you end up talking to agents at conferences or, like that kind of stuff. Or like you meet a publisher, just like whatever, just like having those connections is a way to build a platform. Like that's part of your platform.
Yeah. I found this weird pie chart about what a platform is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to read to you all what it says. This is what an author platform is made of, is what this chart says. 25% expertise. And I think this was made for nonfiction.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
So, but I think it applies since we all have to have platforms now. So 25% expertise, 10% contacts, 10% social media, 10% previous media, which those of us who aren't published, we're screwed. And
Right.
10% previous books, which, okay, now we're up to 20% that we're screwed on.
Yeah.
Personality, 10%. That's a
Wow.
little scary.
A little bit.
Existing readership, 10%. And ability to execute, 15%.
Oh, interesting.
Which I don't know what ability to execute means.
Maybe just like the ability to
To
gain.
write a book or to,
Well, maybe
I don't know.
Interesting. Or maybe like the ability to execute platform, like to execute
Maybe.
having a platform. I don't like the way that you do it. I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't either, but I thought that was fascinating that there was actually a pie chart out there. I came across that and I'm like, wow, this is more technical than I thought it was.
Right. Well, I think that's super interesting too, because it shows you like how many different parts go into a platform. It's not just social media.
Definitely.
So is platform important? And the answer is yes. Building an author platform can help you reach new audiences and increase the potential readership of your next or new or debut book or whatever. Some agents and publishers use the author platform as a way to decide if they should sign you on a contract.
Yeah, I actually read somewhere that in some cases an author's, quote, star quality, it means more than their actual book, which
Right.
I guess if, like who wrote Harry Potter? J.K. Rowling. So J.K. Rowling's star power at this point in her career means more than her actual book.
Right. Yeah.
It'll screw her up if it's not a good book, but getting it published to begin with, her star quality is already there.
Right. Yeah. Although she's kind of shooting herself in the foot with all of her political views on Twitter.
She sure is.
So I think she has things to learn to be political, but
I agree.
As a star, who is writing children's books and like that kind of thing, I think there are some things that she could work on.
Yeah, so, I agree.
That's all I'm going to say about that. That said, some agents don't actually care whether or not you have a platform, and will actually work with you to grow it. I've seen several agents be like, oh, I don't care if you have a Twitter. I don't even care if you have social media. They're like, we'll work with you on that. But if your book is good, then I'm good.
I think that's going to change as time goes on, though.
You mean like they will?
Yes. I think right now we're in that in-between time where, we're finally catching up with the technology. And I think at some point in the future, if you don't have one, you're doomed. So right. I think we all need to be thinking about it right now.
Yeah, I don't know about doomed, but I mean, I think it does depend on the agent, because a lot of the time they're looking for, a lot of agents really do look for quality content, and the publisher might be what bottlenecks it and is like, this is the platform.
That's true. That's a good point.
So I wouldn't be worried. And then, that's where I'm coming in, where I'm like, an agent might help you with that, or might have ideas about how to build your platform.
That's true, because it's the publisher who's going to care. It's the agent that wants you to be out there, so they would be more than willing to help you.
Right. And they'll give you connections in the industry and that kind of stuff.
You're a lot less work if you already have one.
Absolutely. Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
And that's why there are some agents that say, no, we want you to have a higher quality platform or whatever.
But we're not doomed if we don't have one.
Right.
Okay.
Well, in my opinion, I don't know. Maybe we are. I have no clue. It is 2020. Maybe we're just doomed.
We're all doomed.
Bless. A robust.
Wow.
Platform. Shush.
Right now, that's a big word.
I'm not even drinking. Listen, I'm just stressed. A robust author platform translates to a greater chance at higher sales, which is where that comes in with the agent. The agent runs on commission. Publishers want you to sell as many copies as you can get, that kind of thing.
True. Yeah. So I totally agree. I think if we can sum up what you just said, a platform helps your target readers and the general public discover your books.
Right.
Discoverability. You can attract new readers on a regular basis, and then you can connect with them.
Yeah.
You can engage existing readers and retain them and convert them into super fans.
Absolutely.
You can boost your credibility as an author. I mean, think about if you have a platform and you're out there and you're stable on this platform, you're a known entity, you are solid. You were going to say something.
I am going to say something. In terms of like numbers, I always go and look at reviews, or I look at author websites, or I look at how many Facebook followers an author has, and like that kind of thing. And that's, that doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, I'm not going to read the book just because they don't have that many followers. But if they have a lot of followers, then that tells me something about their books.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So it buys you credibility. You can build meaningful relationships with influencers, which is we could probably do an episode on influencers.
Yeah.
And other relevant groups of people who can help you promote your brand, which you talk about later. And then, like you said, you can sell more books on a regular and consistent basis. So it is important. It is something we all should be doing. I am a dinosaur, so I'm being dragged into the modern times, but
no, you're in your lower 30s.
Yeah. Oh, I love you. She's my favorite daughter tonight.
Listen, it's been a bad week. You need some goodness.
Yeah, and this is my third drink and it's almost gone.
My goodness.
And it's did I tell you it was a kamikaze? Did I?
You did.
Okay.
Pretty
All
sure.
Right.
Pretty sure.
Okay. It's hard because we talk before we get on and record. So I don't remember what I've said on the tape and what I've said off the tape. So
I'm pretty sure, because we always do the what are you drinking question.
Okay.
So I'm decently sure.
Yeah, but I get off track especially when I've had 3 of these babies. Woo!
I mean, we get off track like we just did right now.
Mm-hmm.
So how can I build my platform to get back on track?
Yes.
First things first, know your target audience and readers. Know who you're trying to get to follow you in the first place. This will help you to know where you need to focus all of your energy. Why are you shaking your head?
Because this bothers me.
I don't understand.
I have always had trouble with this. This thing keeps like getting caught on my chair. Okay.
Wow.
So we write urban fantasy.
Right.
So our readers are going to be from all ages, all social backgrounds, all races, everybody loves books. So what the hell is our target audience?
Well, so think about so you said urban fantasy is what we write.
Right.
We also really just enjoy fantasy. I think a lot of readers probably cross over and enjoy contemporary fantasy. Probably.
I mean, honestly, I read everything.
Yeah. No,
I love
know.
romance novels. So how do I have a problem with this. Know your target audience.
Yes. So your target audience is going
everybody.
To be your target audience is going to be urban fantasy readers. People who like fantasy, people who like honestly just writing. You could do something about writing tips. You could do mythology stuff as you're doing research on your books. You could do
like our Myth and Monsters episodes on the podcast.
Right. Yeah.
Is a general urban fantasy type thing.
Exactly. And I mean, think about our podcast. Let's go to that for a second. You're targeting writers, other writers and stuff, because we talk about reading. So that is our target audience. Target audience.
She is feeling my drinks.
I am. But other writers are our target audience. And so that's who you target.
I understand for our podcast.
Right.
But books, everybody loves books.
Yeah. So
now, so your Nana, my mother, would never read. She already told me, I don't know if I told you this before, she told me that she would not read my book if I got published. Did I tell you that?
No.
She hates fantasy. She hates urban fantasy. She hates sci-fi. She hates all of it. And I was like, oh, so if I ever get published, you're going to read my book, right? And she said, no. I'm like, oh my God.
But she'll buy a copy, right?
My dad would buy a copy. He is the fantasy fan. But
she doesn't have to read it. She just has to buy it.
this is true. But my point is, okay, out of all the millions of people, I don't know millions of people, but out of all the however many people that I know,
No.
Okay, so I know your Nana is one that is not in my target audience, but readers, I don't understand how to target other than, okay, so generally we're nerds.
Right.
So we can target nerds.
Yeah.
But how do we target them? Are you talking hashtags like in Instagram? I mean, how do you target them?
Yeah, no, you can absolutely do hashtags. It depends on, what you're looking for. So obviously you can hashtag urban fantasy, you can hashtag mythology, you can hashtag writing, you can hashtag books, you can hashtag whatever. And then, because you're trying to draw in people who would also be interested in urban fantasy. So you can do, like I said, you can talk about dragons because those end up in urban fantasy. You can talk about, oh, I did this today in my urban fantasy, and hashtag whatever the hell you did. It could be something completely random. Like you could just be like, oh, my cat did this really funny thing and he's going to end up in my urban fantasy, just like whatever.
I gotcha.
So just anybody who would be interested in reading the content on your platform and potentially interested in your books would be a good way to do it. And a lot of the time, you want to put that kind of stuff in your profile. So like I think I say in my Twitter profile, I write urban fantasy. I'm an urban fantasy writer. So anybody who clicks on my profile will be like, oh, I like urban fantasy. I want to go follow her.
I had a dude on Twitter ask us what urban fantasy was because I'll post a lot of stuff and he's like, what is it? And so I was like, it's this, but it's kind of this, but it's kind of this. And he's like, yeah, you sound like me when I'm trying to explain to my kid what, X, Y, and Z is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did do research on this question because it baffles me. And so I found an article about knowing your target audience.
Yeah.
And it said, number one, you figure out who are they? What do they do for a living? What's their age, sex, marital status, and location? What are their hobbies, interests, and motivation? What challenges and problems do they struggle with? What makes them happy and unhappy? And where do they spend their time online and offline? So I read that list and I'm still baffled because with books, all humans love books.
I know, but you have to narrow down to fantasy books. I think it doesn't necessarily have to be specifically urban fantasy, but I think you could do a lot of stuff with fantasy books. You can also just do general things about your life because you like your book. So things about your life, I like cats. I could talk about, tons of people love cats. And then I'm also going to talk about my book and people will be like, oh, this author is great. She has cats.
Where is your cat? He's usually behind you on the chair.
He's behind me on the floor.
There's that baby. Oh, he's so cute.
He'd be sweet. So I think, just that kind of stuff. Like I think anything to make you appealing as a person in general, like show them who you are, because like people are interested in that too.
Okay.
But also make it clear that you do write urban fantasy and you're most likely to attract people that are just like you.
Okay. Yeah, I just struggle with that concept.
No, that's fair. I'm not saying that I'm an expert on it by any means, but I kind of see a little bit better, I think, than you do what I'm trying to get at. If that makes sense.
Like, so do I do a hashtag D&D because D&D people are nerds that probably like urban fantasy? I mean,
only if you talk about D&D.
Oh.
Right? So like if say you're doing this tweet and you're like, oh, I just put a dragon in my story and it reminded me of this time that I was playing D&D, and then you can hashtag D&D.
Oh.
Like that kind of thing. And then so then people are like, oh, this person plays D&D and she writes books, I'm probably going to like it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. That makes sense. I get it a little bit more now. Okay.
All right. Oh, yeah, you mentioned this a little bit earlier. Identify and define your brand, which this I think is more along the lines of like, I don't really get this part. Like you don't really get the target audience thing. And it's like, basically what makes you unique in a sea of platforms.
Yeah, this I get more than the who is your target audience. But part of that is because I do have a business where I make items as well. So I have a brand for Dragoncraft Creations, and I drew my logo. It's a dragon head, and it's in a moon, and it's Zentangle, and I colored it, and that is my brand, and the colors are gold and blue. So, and my name is Dragoncraft Creations. So that is my platform. So I use my colors and I do all of that. But like you said, I'm still a little bit iffy on a brand. I get it with products.
Right.
Because someone can look at my advertisement and know, oh, that's Dragoncraft Creations. She does what I do. But with an author, I'm a little bit more confused. But what I researched this as well, and what I found was that a brand for authors, you have to decide if you're going to use your real name or a pen name.
Right.
And then whatever you decide, use that consistently. You should get a professional headshot done, which, you know, our friend Sandra Daniels that we met at a conference in Atlanta,
yeah.
She had a professional headshot done, and she uses that picture in all of her social media, Instagram, Facebook. That is her picture. She chose one and she uses that. So it's easily recognized. As soon as we see that picture, we know who she is.
Right.
You come up with a one-sentence tagline that communicates the uniqueness of what you're offering, which I have a problem with this too, because we come up with taglines for our books,
right,
but we have to come up with a tagline for ourselves.
Yeah, and I guess that might be like your profile sentence or whatever, like writer of urban fantasy, because I think mine is science by life, or like science by day, writer by life, or something like that.
Yeah, mine's not that interesting. I think it just says urban fantasy writer. I think it says urban fantasy writer, period, mother, period, lawyer, period. Woohoo! I'm so original.
But it's also good because it does define who you are.
That's true. So. That's true. Choose words and phrases that best describe your brand and use them in all of your communication. So if you have a Facebook page, an Instagram page, a website, use the same headshot, the same tagline. You want to carry it through, so that is your brand.
Right.
And then it says to identify colors and fonts that fit with your brand. So you've got to just choose, you know, what colors do you feel for your novels is going to be something that portrays you.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I love purple. I you know, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then use those consistently on your website, your social accounts, your email, your signature, everything.
Yeah.
And that helps build that brand. So like with our podcast, I think I'm more up to date on building our podcast brand than I am on my author website. Right. I don't have a website, but my author, I have a Twitter. Woohoo! But with our podcast, we have our logo. We designed our logo in the very beginning. We use it consistently. I do ads and I say, you know, come listen to our Myth and Monsters episodes once a month. And I put our little logo on it. I put our website. Our website has all of our information on it. So I kind of get that. And our colors are, we've got the crimson martini glass, with, you know, it's got the crimson color in it with the little swivel stick with the books on it, like the olive. Right. So that is our brand.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And we did have somebody on Twitter say they loved our logo.
Oh, good.
Yeah, which made me very happy because we worked hard on that. And I guess we need to do the same thing for ourselves as a author.
Yeah, fair enough. I struggle to do that with like my own personal being, I guess. Like I don't know how to do that for me as a person. Like I just don't, I can't wrap my mind around it because like I don't view myself as like a This is going to sound bad, but like I don't view myself as a product.
We are products, though. An author is a product, and I guess that's what part of this point, the point of this episode is that we've got to learn to view ourselves that way.
Right. Fair enough. And then, I was thinking about the writers' conferences that we've been to, and there was one that we went to on Platform, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy who was giving it, his name is Brian Clems, and he actually runs the Atlanta Writers Digest conference. And he was talking about, his own brand, because he wrote a comedy fathered book. Like it's about being a dad to a daughter, and it's comedic. And so he was talking about his brand, and he was like, well, what I started doing was on Pinterest. I chose Pinterest as my platform, my main platform. And then I started taking pictures of sticky notes that I would leave around the house for my daughter, and they were funny little sticky notes. And so he gained traction from that, and that became his brand.
Interesting.
And so people
I do remember that. Yeah.
So I thought that was really interesting. So like he was like, pick one or two things that you think would work well for you as an author. And so he was like, mine was sticky notes and whatever. And yours could be cats and nature and then books on top of that or whatever.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I thought that was interesting. Another thing you can do is create a website, which will centralize your information, have links to all of your social media, create a section for news about your novels. And then also having a website allows you to showcase yourself as an author. So like, again, making your brand more apparent.
Yeah, we've done this with our podcast.
Yeah.
We've got a website. So I get how making the website is important because I've done it. I've totally embraced the brand thing with our podcast.
Right.
But as an author, do you think you have to be published before you go out there and create a website?
I don't think so. I see this all the time. And I think, because you can use a website as a blog. You can use it as, just that kind of stuff to make it more personalized to you as the author, as a person, reaching out to others who are similar.
I keep having visitors in the kitchen window.
Oh.
First it was your father, and now it's your youngest sister.
Wow.
I researched this too, because this whole topic is fascinating to me, and I think we'll have to do more topics in more depth on each of these individual things, just if anybody is as interested in them as I am.
Yeah.
But this is what I found. Your website is the one place where you can showcase your brand as much as you want, using your brand colors, your tagline, your headshot, and all of that. A website makes you appear more professional and credible. You have your own website.
Right.
I mean, your website is open 24/7. So that's invaluable.
Yeah.
With a website, you and your books can be found easily by your target audience and the general public. On this note, though, try to find a domain name that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
I've seen some weird domain names out there.
Right.
But like for our podcast, we are eatdrinkwrightpodcast.com. That's simple.
It's to Google that, we'll find us.
Yeah, that is straight to the point. You can find us easily. So maybe like TaylorEllisonWrites.com or author Taylor Ellison or Taylor Ellison Urban Fantasy or something.com. Some of these blog websites you have, it's at Blogspot or it's at whatever. I like the nice clean, eatdrinkwrightpodcast.com.
Yep.
We could probably do a whole episode on domain names and that kind of thing too. We probably should. The other good thing about websites is that you have 100% control over what goes on that website, and it can't be taken away from you. Like on social media, Twitter can ban you. They can say, oh, you're following too many, or you have too many followers and you're not following enough. Whatever it is, your website, you control.
Yeah.
And once you're ready, you can have links on your website to where to buy your book.
Yeah, I think that's super important.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good, because, anybody who has heard of you and goes to look you up will immediately find a link to buy your
Yeah.
work.
Like Karen Moaning, which you found that we're not pronouncing her name correctly. How do you pronounce her name?
Karen Monning or something like that.
Moaning. So, but you go to her website and she's got links to where you can buy all her books. It's right there. And you can see pictures of her, and she's got all her own personal stuff, and it's, all of her series that she's written.
Right.
So yeah, that's super important.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about authors who have websites is when they list the order that their books are supposed to be read in, especially if it's a long
Yes.
series. Because I'm like, please tell me the timeline. I'm like, which one do I start?
Yes. There was one series I was reading. I don't remember what it was. None of them had the order.
Oh,
and I was like, which one? Which one do I read next?
Yeah. No, I hate that. Which, like, I know that's easy to Google, but I love going to author websites and seeing, like, what their suggested timeline, because, Patricia has the 2 series that are set in the same world, and you could, like, read those in order and flip back and forth between the series and stuff.
Yeah, so next time I read hers, I am going to follow her direction from that very beginning one, which wasn't even a novel. It was a novella or something, a short story or something. Yeah. I'm going to read all the way through. When is her next book coming out?
Probably March. It's usually in March, and I think it's going to be Alpha and Omega.
So yeah, I need to, and I don't think I've read. You gave me both of the last 2 novels she's written. I am so far behind. I haven't read those yet.
I can't believe you haven't.
And one of them you gave me was autographed by her.
I know, that was great. It made you cry.
It did. It made me cry. So yeah, I'm ready to start reading the whole thing over again, so that when the next book comes out, I am up to date and hot to try it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, now we're down to the email list that you were.
Oh yeah.
So, email list is something that I see about a lot when talking about author platform. Everybody's trying to get these mailing lists. Everybody's trying to get people's emails to send out newsletters and that kind of stuff. So if you decide to go that route, which I actually don't know that much about it, and I should have done more research on it for this. But
I think we can do a whole episode on this.
I think so too, because what I think it is essentially is that you want to gather emails to be able to send out news about your upcoming books, news about any works that you're working on, just like that kind of thing, and keep your reader base interested in what's coming in the near future.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that. That's my email.
I was going to say, was that you or me?
That was me. So if you're going to do this, then choose an email service provider like, ConvertKit. I have never heard of a lot of these, so I don't know how to pronounce them. But Auber, MailChimp, apparently there are several websites that you can use to help you out with
I've heard of MailChimp. Does it cost money? Do you know?
I'm sure it does. I haven't looked into it.
Okay.
And we could do that for another episode, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Create a sign-up form on your website. So again, you're coming back to the website that you've created. So everything's in one place.
Yeah.
Make available a thank you gift. It's also called like a lead magnet or a reader magnet for people that sign up. You just want to encourage people to sign up for your mailing list. Decide how often you're going to send emails to your list and be consistent about that. The timing is really important. People hate inconsistency, just in general.
Yes, definitely. It's unprofessional.
Right. So this could be like weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, so on, but just be consistent about it. I personally think weekly is a bit much.
I think so too. Yeah. Like we do for our podcast, we have a quarterly newsletter. Yeah. And our patrons get it. That's all that gets it. And so we've done one so far, and there will be a winter one. We've got the summer one, I guess a fall one. We'll have to do a fall one. It's time.
It is time.
We have a patron, and she is awesome. We love her. And I don't know how to say her name. Gianna Bacilli.
Don't butcher the nice lady's name.
I know. That's what my husband said. He's like, don't say it until you know how to say it. And so I sent her a message and said, please tell me how to say your name so I can give you a shout out because we love you dearly. She just upped her patron amount to us, which we thank her for so much. Awesome. Thank you so much. What were we talking about?
The newsletter. We do quarterly newsletters.
Oh yeah. So yeah, so I think quarterly for us right now is about all that we can handle, but only our patron gets that. So
Right. Ensure that you always send personalized emails that provide value. So don't do like a cookie cutter email each time that you send.
Definitely.
People something new to read. That's what would keep me on a mailing list. I'm actually on one mailing list for an author, and he changes it up every time that he sends one. So, and
nice.
I enjoy it.
They're very nice.
Yeah. Avoid buying a list or putting people on your list manually, because that does nothing for what, you're not going to sell books that way if you just have like a bunch of random people who aren't even interested.
Yeah.
So remember to provide a way for people to unsubscribe easily from your emails, because I get so mad when I can't unsubscribe from emails that I do not want anymore.
Yes. Oh, I hate that too.
Yeah.
The other thing is, and I tried to do this, I think in the very beginning for our podcast, I tried to do this. You can do contests to that have people sign up for your email list or whatever, and they can win merch or whatever. So that's another way to get people to sign up, do a contest of some kind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Another thing you can do is write guest posts. So write a piece for another author's website or blog to collaborate with others in the industry. This helps with networking and drawing in new readers that you'll be exposed to. Because if you hop on someone else's blog and those readers would be interested in the same type of writing that you do, then you will also get new readers.
Yeah, and don't just be a guest on another one, although that's fantastic. That is huge.
Right.
Do your own blogs. You've got this great website, so use it. Blog yourself. Blog consistently. This is another thing we were just talking about. You want to be consistent, because if you're flaky, you don't have credibility with your readers.
Right.
If you blog consistently, you also get noticed more. There's something about the technology that's way over my head that gets you noticed more if you blog consistently. And also, when you blog, you're writing, that works on your writing skills.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really good way to practice your writing skills.
Yeah, so especially if you've got writer's block or something, writing a blog is a totally different kind of writing that might get your juices flowing.
Yeah, no, definitely. Especially if you blog about your writer's block.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So another way to do this, to build your platform, is to connect with people offline, which also just baffles me, because I know my family and I know my friends, and I'm like, but that's exactly what you're supposed to do, is talk to your friends, your neighbors, your family, etc., about your work and your writing.
Yeah. I mean, you can even go to local places. Like, we've got our little coffee shop that before COVID, we would go and do our episodes there.
Yeah.
They may want us to speak. Think about libraries, which are also affected by COVID, but you, especially once you're published, your local library might have an opening for you to come and speak.
Right.
And especially if you're self-published, because when you're published by a big firm, they are going to have you do signings and go places. But if you're self-published, start local. Start with your local library. Start with your local coffee shop. That's a great way to get it going.
No, that's a really good idea. I didn't think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Also attend writers' conferences and events, because these will help you network in general, and also you meet a bunch of other authors.
Yeah, we love that. I mean, we talk about it all the time. We go to the one in Atlanta every year. Yeah. I want to try to find some more. I would love to go somewhere else if COVID ever calms down.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, and actually I would like to go to some podcast ones as well.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Wouldn't that be fun? Yeah. Like Em and Christine on And That's Why We Drink. That's one of our favorite podcasts. They go to the true crime podcast convention and that kind of thing. So
that's so fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So surely there's podcasts out there for writers that, we could connect with. How fun would that be?
That'd be great. That'd be awesome. We could look into that.
Yeah.
Also use social media. So now we're finally down to the thing that, when I thought of platform, I thought of social media, and it turns out there's so much more.
Yeah.
So social media is a great way to connect with potential readers. Pick one or two platforms that you like and stick with them. Trying to use too many can be super overwhelming.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do all the podcast social media. I don't have any author social media other than I am on Twitter, and I do Pit Mad and Fantasy Pit or whatever that is.
Right.
But as far as I do everything for our podcast, and it is overwhelming. We've got our website, we've got Instagram, we've got Twitter and Facebook. We don't have a TikTok yet. I have TikTok for my Dragon Craft Creations, but I don't have it for this. And as we were doing this, I realized we have a Pinterest. I forgot we had a Pinterest. And I have not been posting on it. So, talk about being sketchy and having them going, don't quite know about this podcast because they're not consistent.
Right.
So, there's lots of stuff out there. It does take time, especially if you have a quote unquote real job. I would love writing to be my real job, but it's not right now. I have to feed my family. So, it takes time, but you've got to choose, like you said. It would be better. I'm one of those people, I can do it all. And it's better if you choose the one or two things that you have time to concentrate on. I do a lot on Twitter for our podcast. That does seem to be the number one thing. And then Instagram is second. Now, there are a lot of things out there that can help you. Like I use Tailwind.
Yeah.
And when I post through Tailwind on Instagram, I can also post at the same time on Facebook. So I get 2 for 1. It does cost money.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to pay that price for the ease of it because I don't have time. I mean, I am a lawyer. Unfortunately, I have to give a lot of time to my law job. And I love the law, so I can't say unfortunately, really. I do love it.
Right.
But there's only so many hours in a day, and I don't have the time to give as much as I want. So really, pick what you want to focus on and do it well. Don't be scattered like I am and try to do 50 million things and don't do any of them well. Choose carefully.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
For the record, I think you did great on Twitter.
Well, thank you. I do try. Thank you.
And then I was going to get into, what kind of content belongs in your platform. And I think that this is just an entirely different episode altogether.
Yeah, I think so too. And honestly, I think this might be 5 or 6 more episodes. Some of them might be mini, but some of them, I don't know how long we've been going, but I think we've talked a long time on what I thought was going to be a really short episode.
Yeah.
I would say one last thought. I read somewhere the best advice on creating your platform is to take it slow.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't do it overnight. You don't want to do it overnight. You don't want to just appear overnight. You want to build your platform, build that trust with your readers.
One of the quotes that my father has said to me before about various things in my life is that it's a marathon, not a race.
Yes. And consistency builds the trust. So take it slow, take it to the time that you need to be able to do it right.
Right.
So that's all I've got tonight.
Same, except I do have an interview question.
Oh, Lord.
Do any of your characters use social media a lot? And if so, which ones?
Oh, wow. Kada, who is the one, she starts in Atlanta. She is a college student, part-time college student, works at her mom's magic store, and she gets sucked into this other world. She is so unhappy to be in this world that has no telephones, no internet. I mean, there are several times in the book that she's like, I need my phone. So, and she's a millennial, so plus she's got that jargon and the slang that you get when you only follow the social media. So probably Kada.
Yeah.
And she actually faces the being deprived of it when she's in this other world. So yeah,
That's a good answer.
Trick isn't allowed to use it. You
Yeah.
remember, she's not even allowed to have an iPod or a, you know, she sneaks the iPod, and it wasn't an iPod, whatever it is. It
Yeah.
might have been an iPod. That tells you how long ago I wrote this book.
Right.
But yeah, she's not allowed to have any, so she doesn't use it at all. And then Hallow's old enough that she's more concentrated on her career. That really is her focus in life. She doesn't, I mean, you know, she's like all of us. We've got Twitter and whatnot, and we read it, but she is not on it all the time, like Kata is.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you?
I think Mac probably uses it a lot, and not for personal use, like to keep up with things or anything like that, but because she is such a celebrity now.
Yeah.
That she probably just has it to be on it or whatever. That, or she doesn't use it at all. I haven't written it into the story. And so
what
I
about Aiden? She's
Aiden,
that age. Yeah.
Yeah. Aiden's, you know, I don't ever write about it in the story. She uses her phone a lot, just in general. So I guess she might be on social media all the time. But she, in the story, the first book of hers is, you know, she's grieving, and so she's not really trying to be on social media.
Yeah, she wants to be away from everybody.
Right.
You know, in Hallow, her little sister Quill,
yeah,
would be the one that would probably be on social media all the time. She is another one of those teenage characters that I write that I just absolutely adore.
Yeah.
She is snarky and just brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought this was a fun question just because I didn't think about it really that much for any of my. So, and it's such a big part of people's lives these days.
I mean, we all walk around with our phones in our hands. So, whoa, I almost threw it on the floor. So it should be more in our books, I would think.
Right. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting.
Wow. Very good question. Now I got to rethink some of my scenes in my books.
Right.
Right. Because it's a huge part of everybody's life, even old people like me.
Even old people.
All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. As we talked about, we do have a website. It is eatdrinkwritepodcast.com. You can email us from there. You can comment on us. You can comment to us from there. It's got all our social media. Come check us all out. I do need to point out, we've got a trailer if all of you are interested in listening on that. I do post it on Twitter. Twitter is probably the #1 social media thing for our platform.
Yeah.
That I use. Instagram second probably, and the website unfortunately third. But you can get anything you need there. I do want to give a shout out to our patron. We bless her heart. We love her dearly. Thank you so much. It takes money and time and effort to do this, and I hope it helps you all. It helps us to talk it all out. And honestly, we talk for hours about all this stuff, not while we're recording, right? You know, we love writing. It's a huge part of our life. So we will see you next time. I don't know what our topic will be. We've got to do some more mini episodes. I think we've got a lot of minis that need to be done. But we love you all. Thank you. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.